Hey guys, Richard from gunsholstersandgear.com. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the MTM Case Guard Survivor Ammo Can. What this is kind of a burial vault, pre-assembled, pre-packaged, however you want to call it. A lot of us have cached some weapons, some ammunition, money, some other valuables, and buried them somewhere. Maybe it's at a bug out location, maybe it's just around your own property. Just in the event there's anything that comes along that might impact your residence or where you normally have things stored. For example, you're the victim of a burglary, there's mass chaos in the world, the zombies come, whatever the case may be. In the past, what a lot of us have had to do is to build our own burial vaults using PVC, pipe cement, these types of things. And they work, they do work. There are a variety of people out there that have documented how they've done this. They've gone back after several years, dug things back up, and everything was great, no corrosion or very limited amounts of corrosion. Certainly you still had functional weapons, ammunition that was still usable, etc. What this is MTM's kind of made the process a lot easier. If you're somebody like myself where you love doing projects but you don't necessarily have a lot of time, something like this actually works out to be pretty good. This Survivor Ammo Can can store quite a bit in it. I've tried it. I've put in there multiple full-size handguns along with extra ammunition and magazines. No problem. So if you want to kind of break things up, you want to throw, say, you got a couple of handguns you want to put in there with about 200 rounds of ammo, a couple extra magazines, a holster, you're going to have plenty of room in this. The sizing on it is actually pretty good. At first glance, it may look a little small, but that's kind of deceptive. You can really pack a lot of stuff in here. When I talk about handguns, I'm talking about full-size handguns like a SIG P226. Full-size fighting handguns. You can easily get a couple of 1911s or whatever you want in here. Certainly Glock 19s, you're good to go. But what they've done is they've put together something that is going to be very easy for anyone with just a few minutes time to put together a small kit, bury it in the backyard, and walk away from it, and hopefully have some things that are going to store very well over a long period of time. First review I talked about online, just kind of went over everything. Certainly I'll link back to that, so please go back and take a look at that if this is your first experience or first exposure to this little vault. Today we're going to show you how to kind of assemble it, and we're going to go bury it actually on my property, and then in a few months we're going to come back, we're going to dig it back up, we're going to see what kind of corrosion, if any, we've had. The kit basically comes sort of like this. It just comes in a box, pretty easy. What you've got is this right here. This is actually a lid that goes on last. This is your inner lid that actually screws down to your vault here. You've got two O-rings in here, one on either side of the screw. These screws go down, they secure it here. You've got an O-ring on the inside and the outside of the screw. What that does is basically, when you affix this down, you still got that barrier inside of the screw points, but if you have water that kind of comes up underneath, you've got to get through two O-rings before you can get there. Water coming down, if it intrudes around where your screws are, and there's actually rubber gaskets that go with the screws, it has to get past that inner O-ring, plus of course the gasket around the screw. This sits on top of everything, and this is all one piece. There are no screws or anything else. The only way water can get into this is if it intrudes underneath. So what this is, this goes down, this goes into the earth like this, so this is on top. Rainwater or any other water coming from above, in theory, is going to hit this, shed off of this, and it's never going to penetrate underneath. The only way you're going to get water is if you install it incorrectly, you bury it upside down or something stupid. But for water to get in here, if you've assembled everything correctly, it's got to penetrate from underneath, and then it's going to have to go past two seals, either both of those O-rings or the seal around the screw and then the inner O-ring to get inside. Now, water is kind of devious, as we all know. Not only is it corrosive, but it can get into a lot of places. So even if you've got moisture, not actual like tangible water that, you know, is filling up your bucket, but you still have some moisture that's getting inside. They do include a vapor barrier bag that you can seal all your stuff up in, seal it up, and then they also have a large desiccant pack. So you throw the desiccant pack in with into the vapor sealed bag, put all that stuff in there. So basically you have to have moisture that gets past your multiple exterior O-rings and seals, get inside, and then anything that gets inside is going to have to penetrate the bag. Anything that penetrates the bag is going to get absorbed by the desiccant, and quite frankly, if it gets past all that, you're probably screwed because you've got some other issues going on. But overall, it seems like a really good plan, really good setup. Seen the lids, and it comes with everything else you need here. Screws. The screws, like I said, they've got their own little rubber gaskets, your desiccant pack, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Now what they've done is they don't include a separate sheet of instructions or anything. They've got the instructions right here on the top and on the inside of the lid. You're probably going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly how to put everything together, but the instructions are right here, so you can't lose the instructions. Key is make sure everything gets sealed up nice and tight, and then you bury it straight up. Now what I've got here today, I want to test a variety of different things. I'm not going to go out there, I'm not going to throw you know, a good quality handgun in there not knowing if this is going to be a workable solution. I think it is. I'm pretty confident I could, but right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some testing. So what I've got is I've got a AK-47 blank. This is actually an 80% receiver, so in other words, it's not serial numbered or anything else. This is not technically a firearm or a firearm receiver. It's basically just something that could be finished into one. And, you know, you see all the folds, but you can probably see it doesn't have all of the holes drilled in it and everything. These things rust very quickly, so I'm going to use one of these. This should give us a good idea of how much rust we may get on something like that. I'm also going to throw in there a modern magazine. This is for an XD, was this 9mm, I think? Yep, XD9. Staring capacity, was it 16 rounds or, yeah, 16 rounds. We're going to throw that in there also. In theory, this should last longer than this. We'll see. Then I'm also going to throw in there some ammo. Steel jacket ammo, or excuse me, steel cased ammo. Again, the steel should rust a lot quicker than brass. Brass will tarnish up nice. Rust will probably appear on steel cased ammo a lot quicker though. So I've got some just some Wolf 7.62 by 39 that I'm going to throw in there. And I've also got some Russian surplus 7.62 by 54R for Mosin Nagants and whatnot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these in here. But I've also got a couple of Ziploc bags. I'm just going to test out, see if we get anything different. A couple of Ziploc bags. I'm going to put half of the Wolf into one, half of the surplus into the other, and then the remaining ammo is going to go into the main bag. We'll see if we get any differences. If one rusts, the other doesn't, then that may tell us something about what was going on inside there. To make all this complete, the only thing you've got to add is a screwdriver. I've also got a drill over here. Makes things a lot quicker. They do say be careful when you're tightening down. You don't want to over tighten. Shouldn't be a problem. And best case scenario, what you're going to do is you're going to take things, especially if you're anticipating long-term storage, and you're going to use Cosmoline or some other type of protectant that's made for long-term storage. What I'm going to do is I've just got some Rand CLP. Been using this a lot. It's supposed to be a decent protectant. So far on my regular handguns, it works great as a lube and as a cleaner. We'll see how well it does as a protectant. We're only going to have this stuff out there for 3, maybe 4 months or so. So it shouldn't be too harsh of a test on the CLP. Also, none of the stuff I'm throwing in there is anything I can't live without. Alright, so let's go ahead and split up the ammo real quick. Like I said, I want to see what we can determine, if anything, if there's any difference between using the vapor barrier bag and just some standard Ziploc bags. So So we're going to take half the, this is a 7.62 by 39, just the wool. 123 grain jacketed hollow point, just throw that in one bag. Got the balance here we're going to throw into our vapor barrier bag. Well, one thing I will point out is that the case guard, the MTM case guard vault is round shaped. So if you're going to be storing ammo, you could probably get a lot more ammo in there if you do pull it out of the original boxes. Boxes, you know, square, what do they say, round peg square hole, or square peg round hole, or whatever. But it holds true. Basically, if you start trying to stack square boxes into a round container, you're going to wind up losing some space. So pulling the ammo out may actually be a better way to store larger quantities. Alright, this is the 7.62 by 54. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. I've shot some of this stuff already. I got an M44 that I picked up. There's some minor tarnishing on here. It doesn't look like there's any real corrosion or anything. But these should work pretty well for us for our testing. Extract ammo out. Garbage out of the way. Alright, so those are the two there. We'll pull this XD magazine out. Throw that in there. I'm going to throw our AK blank in there. Now I want to be careful just because that AK blank is sharp and I don't want to pierce this. Now, the desiccant pack has been sealed in this, so I don't need to charge it. But I don't want to keep it out too long either, otherwise it's just going to start absorbing all the air, all the humidity in the air as it is. Living in Florida, we have quite a bit. We're just going to seal that up. Do a double loop. There we go, just like that. Put that down in there. Store our ammo down in there. And that's all there is to that. So what we want to do now is, you've already got pre-drilled holes in both sides, in both the lid and the main container. So you just want to line up those holes. I don't know how well you can see this, but you've got a washer, and on the inside of the washer you've got just a rubber gasket. You want the gasket side down. So the gasket will be going against the case to form a good seal. And all we have to do is screw these into place. And again, MTM strongly suggests, or strongly cautions, not to over tighten. That's one down. You know, I've got my drill over here, but quite frankly these things aren't taking a whole lot of effort to get in there. So I think I'm just going to avoid the possibility of over tightening them and stripping out those pre-drilled holes, and just do it manually. It won't take but just a minute. Got a couple more to go here. Alright, looks like the last one. Looks like MTM included an extra screw and extra washer, which is kind of a nice thing. Knock on wood, I have not managed to lose one of these yet. I'll be damned if I'm not going to in a second here. There we go. Alright, I'll just go around, make sure everything is snug, but not over tightened. Seems good. Once you've got the lid screwed in, everything's nice and snug, you're ready to go. You want to take the top part. This top lid actually doesn't secure on there. It just fits into place. There's no lock or seal to be made there. Basically, it's acting as an umbrella. Once you bury this in the ground, any water that's penetrating from above is going to hit this and shed off. Okay, we're going to head outside. We're going to go ahead, get a hole dug, and put this thing in the ground. We'll see what happens. Okay guys, so now we're outside. I've got a hole dug. You can see I've got all the sand up here. As I think I've mentioned, and if you don't already know, I live here in Florida, Central Florida. We have a lot of humidity. We get a lot of rain. Fortunately today things have cleared up. We got rain all night last night. So the sand here is pretty wet already. I dug down fairly not too deep, but decent enough here, and it looks like I'm right about 36 inches, maybe about 35 inches, so we're talking about a 3-foot deep hole. If I was concerned about somebody maybe coming through with a metal detector or something like that, I'd go down even deeper, but for the purposes of this evaluation, I think this is probably going to be plenty deep. Got everything, as I showed you a little earlier in the video, everything is sealed up nicely. Got the lid on there. So we're just going to drop it in, and one thing that they do warn you to be careful about is make sure it's vertical, straight up and down, because this is going to act as an umbrella, keeping any water from coming down and penetrating into it from above, rainwater, that sort of thing. So. Alright, so we got it down in there. All we gotta do is just cover it up and come back in a few months. Right now it is October 24th, 2013, which is a Thursday. So we'll come back sometime after the first of the year, probably after SHOT Show, and we'll take a look at it and see what happens. Make sure you go to our website, gunsholstersandgear.com. Check out all the reviews and news that we've got going on there. We're coming into SHOT Show here pretty soon, just in a few months. So we've got all sorts of new gun information, new ammo, all sorts of great gear that's coming out in the new year. We're getting all that information and all the rumors about new stuff up now. Well, of course, we'll have the whole team out there in Las Vegas in January. So make sure you go over to our website, check back often. We've got a special SHOT Show 2014 page already set up where we're putting together all that information. Plus, you can also sign up for our newsletter. Thanks and stay safe.